For those of you where stealth is the only option, I present to you the 2017 Zuru X-Shot Bug Attack Crossbow. The silent treatment. Welcome to day 7 of TAGBAXMAS, the month of videos where we take a look at a blaster from the past to see what it can offer us today in the present. And this time, it's one of those ever elusive stringer-based blasters. Yeah, this string here is actually how you propel the dart through the air when it comes to the Bug Attack Crossbow. The keen-eyed among you will realize that this takes a lot of its DNA from the NERF Elite Crossbow Blaster, one of my favorite things ever, but there is a lot different here, starting with the fact that this is not a bullpup blaster. It's your typical crossbow aesthetic, and it's very, very nice and comfortable. Stock's a little bit short, but it still works good enough. But it's also pump action, which is kind of wacky for a crossbow, and yet you still get that cool crossbow aesthetic that is visually interesting and has a lot of fun feedback to it. And it's virtually silent, which is the other thing that this is really, really freaking good for. Yeah, Zuru Bug Attack was an offshoot line that didn't really have a lot of different blasters. In fact, a few of them were really just reshells of things Zuru was already making. But for some reason, the crossbow is practically wholly unique in the Zuru X-Shot line. In fact, I don't think they've done a crossbow since, which is a shame because this is a pretty decent one. In fact, Zuru's not really used to making magazine-fed blasters, and well, that's one of the things that the crossbow has going for it, and it's also one of its greatest cons. The mag release is located on the left side of the blaster, just in front of the grip, and the included magazine holds 6 darts. And as far as I know, this is a completely proprietary magazine that is only compatible with Zuru X-Shot darts. You cannot use Nerf mags in this thing, and you can't use Nerf darts in the magazine. It's Zuru only. And of course, it only ever came packaged with the one magazine. There is a couple of other Zuru magazines out there that this may be compatible with, but I don't have those blasters on hand right now. But even then, I don't think Zuru ever sold those magazines separately either. Operation is pretty straightforward though. You load up your magazine with the 6 available darts, plug that sucker right in the magazine well, pump back the blaster, that will tension the string, and push it forward to index a dart into the chamber, and it is ready to fire. And I don't even know if you can hear that, but that's a pretty good velocity for a stock blaster from 2017. And of course, it's virtually silent. Being from the Bug Attack line, this thing actually is like the least offensive of all of the Bug Attack blasters, with it being almost completely symmetrical on both sides of the main shell. The stock is the only part where you see that signature Bug Attack goop, splatter, insectoid juice. And on one side of the stock, you do have a fake sling swivel, which is a shame because it could use some actual sling swivels. The top of the blaster does have a kind of rail, but there are no accessories that are fitted for this blaster. However, a good portion of it does open up to reveal a jam clearing door, which you're gonna need with a blaster like this. And it's completely removable, so most of the time it gets lost. This one was thrifted for a good old $6, had everything with it, and works perfectly fine. Well, after it's been opened up and tinkered with by Luchathor, I do say that this is a pretty cool blaster when it works, because this thing is full of so many locks, there's so many issues with it feeding, and that's like brand new out of the box, so thrifting one, you're in for a bad time, even if the blaster is complete. Without the magazine, you could prime it back and kind of sort of breech loaded if you want to, but probably not the best way to use this thing. Now, the velocity you're seeing on screen is pretty decent for a blaster from 2017. It's about on par with what you get with stock Nerf. These are lighter darts than stock Nerf Elite darts, and they are always gonna have this little bit of quality control issue where the heads are never quite centered on all the darts, so your accuracy will vary with this one. But all those things don't really trouble the Zuru X-Shot Crossbow all that much because it is a super cool looking blaster, it's very fun to use, and it's virtually silent while doing a pretty decent job at tagging out your targets, because again, virtually silent. When the magazine is willing and it feeds perfectly acceptably, it is super fun to just rattle off shots with this thing with so little noise and presence whatsoever. And then, well, it fed almost the entire magazine that time. The last shot didn't index up. It is kind of cool that you have dart storage located on the bow arms itself, and you can, in fact, it's not the most graceful process ever, but you can breech load this thing. It has some tactical applications to it. In terms of modability, that's kind of where stringers fall by the wayside a little bit. In fact, They're really easy to modify out of the box for a tiny performance gain over stock Nerf, but after that, you're completely screwed. This is a bungee that does knock in the back of the blaster and is released by the trigger, obviously. However, as the bungee stretches, it gets thinner, and since foam darts are, well, made of foam, there's a large chance that when the blaster is strung all the way back or overstrung for a little bit of performance gain, the string will just rip the back of the foam dart or just slide over the foam dart instead of shooting it out of the barrel. Otherwise, making this thing hit harder is as easy as just adding a little bit more tension to the string. With there being so few crossbow blasters that shoot foam darts, let alone ones that are magazine fed, there's a few things to love about the Zuru X-Shot crossbow. You can still kind of find them in places and they do work pretty well, and cosmetically they are fantastic. But in terms of actual use, when it works, it's pretty fun, but most of the time you're probably gonna run into little issues and those could be frustrating, meaning this thing is, you can't really depend on it for anything more than that fun. If you actually need to have a blaster work every single time flawlessly, I wouldn't exactly rely on the crossbow. And for the $6 I paid for a complete one, because this is the only one I have out of package right now, yeah, it's totally worth it because this thing's been a fun plinker. But I wouldn't recommend paying much more than that. And please, Zuru, can you revisit this design? Just kind of perfect it, make it compatible with standard magazines and standard darts, because this thing would look really cool in the skins line. There's a lot to love here. And bonus points, if you really wanted to, this thing would be absolutely awesome as a lever action instead of a pump action. A lever magazine crossbow? I know you can do it, and I'm eager to see you try. But that's all I've got for you. I'm Walcom S7. Thank you very much for watching this video. And hey, if you're new, I'm doing an entire month of uploads, so you can find the whole playlist for that in the top right corner right now, and that means there were probably videos before this one, and there's definitely going to be videos after that. And if you got to the end of this video, chances are you like what I do here, so please hit subscribe, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, do all that algorithmic garbage to help this channel grow, so you can help our hobby grow. And of course, I hope to see you in tomorrow's video. Might be a little bit louder than this one, though. Yeah.